Hi, I am Dr. Shubhangi Vaikore, working as an associate professor in computer department at Dattamegi College of Engineering, Airoli. In this video, we'll see the chapter 1, Introduction to Artificial Intelligence and Soft Computing. So in the previous videos, we have covered the first two topics from this chapter. That is, we have seen the introduction and definition of artificial intelligence. Then we have seen the intelligent agents. Now in this video, we are going to see the soft computing. That is, we'll see the introduction of soft computing, then soft computing versus hard computing, and various types of soft computing techniques. So now what is soft computing? Soft computing is a field of computer science which makes use of inexact solutions for problems which has no known method to compute an exact solution. It uses imprecision, uncertainty, partial truth, and approximation as input. Soft computing differs from conventional, that is hard computing, in that unlike hard computing, it is tolerant of imprecision, uncertainty, partial truth, and approximation. In effect, the role model for soft computing is the human mind. Now what is the meaning of this? Now suppose we have to develop any program, then the procedure to develop that program is fixed, that the program will take this as the fixed input and produces the exact output, and the working of that program is also the structure is fixed. But in soft computing, we can design the applications where we do not have the entire knowledge available with us. The data which is available with you may be a noisy data. The partial knowledge is available with us, and there may be a imprecision. The soft computing algorithms or the soft computing methods are able to handle this kind of data also. So this is the basic difference between the conventional computing and the soft computing. Now we'll see what is the hard conventional computing. The hard computing, that is conventional computing, requires a precisely stated analytical model and often a lot of computation time. Yes, so in hard computing, we require a precisely stated analytical model. Means from input to output, everything is fixed. So what kind of input is allowed? Then which is the first step? What are the intermediate results, format of the intermediate results, then what will be the second step, like this. So the analytical model, the mathematical model used for this, it is a fix. And the hard computing requires a lot of computation time to process the input. The models are valid for ideal cases, but in the real world, the applications are not idle. We are having some applications that do not have the background knowledge. There will be the dynamic changes based on certain scenarios, so we have to handle the lot of changes with the input, with the procedure, with the programs, with respect to the output, like this. So for this type of applications, the hard computing won't work. The real world problems exist in a non-idle environment. Now, let's see what are the premises of soft computing. The real world problems are pervasively imprecise and uncertain. As we have already talked about this, the real world applications contains the pervasively imprecise and uncertain. In the previous video, we have seen the example of the automated taxi driver. In that case, the input and the environment is not fixed. There is uncertainty is involved in this kind of applications. So this kind of applications can be properly handled by the soft computing techniques. the precision and certainty carry a cost. Now, we'll see what are the guiding principles of soft computing. The guiding principle of soft computing is exploit the tolerance for imprecision, uncertainty, partial truth, and approximation to achieve tractability, robustness, and low solution cost. Now, here in the soft computing, we are saying that it is able to handle the partial truth, the uncertainty. Now, what is the meaning of this? So, in the soft computing, there are various types of algorithms or the network exist. Here, I would like to give the example of the Hopfield network and the bidirectional associated memory. So, in the Hopfield network is like this. So if we give the imprecise data or the partial data or the noisy data to the network, the Hopfield network algorithm works in such a way that even if we are giving this noisy data, the network is able to give the proper output, same as that of case of bidirectional associated memory. So the soft computing methods are having the capability of handling the noisy or the impreciseness or the uncertainty in the data. Now, next one is the hard computing. So the premises and guiding principles of hard computing are precision, certainty, and recall. So for the hard computing, the precision is more important and it handles only a certain data. So in the hard computing, we can say that the input is precise, the output is precise, and the algorithms that we use in the hard computing are also precise. And it requires certainty. There is a certainty in the input, there is a certainty in the output. Many contemporary problems do not lend themselves to precise solutions, such as recognition problems, handwriting, speech, objects, images. Now, what is the meaning of this? If we want to design the recognition problems as the handwriting recognition or the speech recognition, now if we talk about the handwriting recognition, then there is difference between the handwriting of each and every person. Some persons may write A in another format, other person may write the same alphabet, that is A, in some other format. So there is not certain format for this. There is uncertainty, there is an imprecision involved in this. If you talk about the speech recognition, yes, again, depending on the person to person, the speech is different, their tone is different. When they are delivering the talk, then their uh, modulation, the voice modulation is also different from person to person. So there is an uncertainty involved. If we talk about the object recognition, then yes, again, the objects are different, and if we look at the object from the front side, it looks different. If we look at the object from the different angles, then the presence of that object or the shape of that object may be different. Then images also. Images, there are various types of images, there is various categorization of images. So in this kind of problem, there is not a fixed format. Depending on the type of the inputs, there is uncertainty. So for the hard computing, this kind of problems cannot be designed or cannot be developed using the hard computing algorithms. Then next one is mobile robot coordination, forecasting, and the combination problems. Now for this kind of problems also, the hard computing won't work. If we talk about the forecasting algorithms, then if you want to develop a project or develop the applications for the weather forecasting, then there is no fixed input for this. Depending on the survey that the particular department has done, there might be the changes in the observations. So depending on the dynamic observations, the forecasting is done, and this forecasting depends on the n number of things. Again, that dependability is not fixed. So again, for this kind of problems, the hard computing cannot be used. So to design such type of problems, we have to use the soft computing. Now next one is implications of soft computing. The soft computing employs neural network, then support vector machine, fuzzy logic, etc. in a complementary way rather than a competitive way. Now, what is the meaning of this? Each method or each algorithm has its own advantage. But the soft computing makes use of all these algorithms in a complementary way and not in a competitive way. In soft computing, there are various hybrid algorithms where these algorithms are designed in such a manner that they are the combination or they are the integration of more than one technique, where we can incorporate the advantage from one system, the advantage from the second system to get or to develop a better system, better hybrid system. Next, one example of a particularly effective combination is what has come to be known as neurofuzzy systems. So just now we have seen we can create the hybrid system. Now in the neurofuzzy system, what is neurofuzzy system? The neural network and the fuzzy system combination is called as the neurofuzzy system. Now, if we talk about the neural network, then the advantage of the neural network is that the mapping precision of the neural network is best. When we give the input, then we get the best output for the neural network. So the mapping precision is best. This is the advantage of the neural network. Then for the fuzzy system, the advantage is the user interpretability is more as compared to the neural network. It is a user friendly system. Now, what is the meaning of this user friendly system? The fuzzy logic or the fuzzy system makes use of the linguistic variables. If we talk about the neural network, then the neural network works with the numerical values, that is the inputs, the weight values, the bias values, the threshold functions. These are what? These are the numerical values. But if we talk about the fuzzy system or the fuzzy logic, it involves the linguistic variables. Now here I would like to give the example of the linguistic variables as, suppose I say that today the temperature is 30 degree. Then 30 degree represent a numeric value. But suppose I say that today the temperature is high. Then suppose I say that today the temperature is low. Then this low and high, this represent the linguistic variables. So the user is more friendly with the linguistic variables rather than with the numerical values. So the combination of these advantages are combined together into the neurofuzzy system. And this neurofuzzy system is one of the popular method which is used for the classification purpose or the clustering purpose. Such systems are becoming increasingly visible as consumer products ranging from air conditioners and washing machines to photocopiers, camcorders, and many industrial applications. So this system, which makes the use of the neurofuzzy system and the hybrid algorithms, neural network and the fuzzy logic are becoming popular. If we talk about the washing machine, if you must have seen the washing machine in the on the panel of that washing machine, it is written that select the water level, then select the type of the cloth, that is the normal cloth, or you have to select the kind of the fabric, whether we are putting the jeans type of material or the soft material. Then it predicts the washing time required. So here it uses the fuzzy logic concept. So we are selecting a range of the water tank level, and we are selecting the type of the fabric. We are not talking about the exact type of the fabric, but we are selecting the general type or the range of the fabrics. So based on these ranges, the washing machine will predict the time of washing that is required to wash the clothes. Now we'll see the unique properties of soft computing. Now there are various unique properties of soft computing. So first is learning from experimental data. So soft computing, if we observe any soft computing algorithm or the method, it requires to be trained. Now train means what? We are having the data available with us. That is, we are having the input, we are having the output. Means if I provide this input, then what will be my output? This is known, and this type of data is called as the training data. We can say this is nothing but the experiences observed from the previous execution of that algorithms. Then this experimental data or the training data is given to the network. Then the network will adjust its network parameters according to that training data, so as to give the proper output when we give the unseen data. Now here we can give the example. Now here we can give the example of the face recognition. Suppose we are having the database of the 10 persons, then from the face images of that 10 persons, we extract the features, and that features are stored in the database. So when the next time for the testing purpose, when we give the new image to the face recognition software, then it again extracts the features. Then the algorithm will try to find out the match between the extracted features and the features which are stored in the database, and according to that match the output is given. So we can say that the soft computing method learns from the experimental data. Now next property, from approximating or interpolating to produce outputs from previously unseen inputs by using outputs from previous learned inputs. So just now we have seen the example of the face recognition. So there is the important characteristic of the soft computing algorithm that is called as the generalization. The network is trained in the generalized manner, so that even if we train our database using the limited number of inputs, and when we give the new pattern or the new input for testing, in that case also the soft computing algorithm will give you the proper output. So this is the meaning of generalization. Generalization is usually done in a high dimensional space. So high dimensional space means we are having the linearly separable data and linearly non-separable data. So what is, first we see what is the meaning of linearly separable and linearly non-separable. So suppose if we are having two classes available with us, and if easily we can distinguish between these two classes, then that is called as linearly separable. But suppose if the distribution of the inputs is not proper, if the points or if the objects belonging to two different classes are mixed together, then we cannot easily distinguish between that two classes, and that is called as linearly non-separable patterns. And to classify this kind of patterns, we have to use the high dimensional space where the generalization matters. Then the next property of soft computing is human expertise. Now, what do you mean by human expertise? In the soft computing algorithms, if we talk about the fuzzy logic, then in the fuzzy logic, we can design any application with the help of the rules, and that rules are stored in the form of if and then. So, as a human being, we are able to identify or we are able to apply this logic or rules easily. So what is the format of this rules? If condition, then expertise. Then this human expertise is to be coded into the algorithmic language, and that is used to predict the output. So the soft computing algorithm makes use of the human expertise in the form of rules building. Then the next property is biological inspired model. Soft computing is inspired from the biological concept. So, biological concept, we are having the biological neural network, and this biological neural network has inspired the scientists to come and build the artificial neural network. Then the next property is new optimization methods. Now, first of all, we'll see what do you mean by optimization. Optimization is nothing but the improvisation or maximization. This is not always maximization, depending on what we have to optimize. Now, suppose let's take an example of any algorithm. Then for that algorithm, if we talk about the error which is present in that algorithm, then always our aim is to minimize the error. But if we talk about the output, then always our aim is to be maximize the output. So minimization and maximization, these are our objective functions, and the objective functions needs to be optimized. And in soft computing, there are numerous new optimization methods. There are derivative based optimization and derivative free optimization. Derivative based optimization means what? It makes use of the derivative of the objective function. There is Tippett descent method is there, Newton method is there. So these are the new optimization methods that we see in the soft computing. In the derivative free optimization, it inspired from the evolutional computation. So here I would like to give the example of a genetic algorithm. So the genetic algorithm is based on the natural reproduction system. So this is again a new optimization method. There are various optimization methods such as the simulated annealing method is there, the ant colony optimization method is there, particle swarm optimization method is there. So we can encounter the new optimization methods, and we can apply this optimization methods on our algorithms, on our applications to improve the methods. Then there are new application domains. As we already seen, the application of hard computing is limited. But in the real world, we encounter such type of applications that involves the uncertainty, partial knowledge, imprecise data. So for this kind of applications, we can make use of soft computing. So there are various new applications domains for the soft computing. Then next property is fault tolerance. Yes, for the soft computing there is a fault tolerance, but for hard computing there is no fault tolerance. Fault tolerance means what? It requires, hard computing requires the exact input and it produces the exact output. So there is no fault tolerance. But in soft computing, we can give the imprecise data, noisy data to the soft computing. So the fault tolerance exists in the soft computing. This is again one of the important characteristic of the soft computing. Now we'll see the current applications using soft computing. Handwritten application, handwriting application, as we already discussed. To recognize the handwriting, we can use the soft computing application. The next one is automotive systems and manufacturing. Then image processing and data compression. There are various algorithms that exist to compress the data. We can use the various soft computing algorithms or the networks for this. Then decision support system. We can develop or we can design the expert system to take a particular decision. The expert system is what? In the expert system, we design the rules based on the facts and the information that is available. And these rules are written in the form of if and then. Then the decision support system will accept the input from the user. Then the system will try to find out the match between the input or the query of the user and the if part that is stored in the database. And if there is a match, then the conclusion is provided as output to the user. Then the next application is neurofuzzy system. We have already discussed about the neurofuzzy system. There are n number of applications for the neurofuzzy system. Here we can give the example of a automobile MPG prediction, that is fuel prediction. So here what is done, based on the characteristics of a particular vehicle, means the model, year of the model for that particular vehicle, the engine for that particular vehicle, the power for that vehicle. So the attributes for that particular vehicles are gathered together, and on this attributes certain algorithms are applied in order to predict the fuel consumption. Then the fuzzy logic control. So the fuzzy logic, there is a vast domain of applications that can make use of the fuzzy logic controller. Mainly in the furnace, we can use the fuzzy logic controller. In the chemical industries, the fuzzy logic controller is used. In our day-to-day life, we are using the washing machine. So again, the washing machine is designed with the help of the fuzzy logic control. So these are the applications that makes use of soft computing algorithms. Now, next one is the future of soft computing. The soft computing is likely to play an especially important role in science and engineering, but eventually its influence may extend much farther. So the soft computing is having the vast capability to influence the future also. We can design or we can make use of the soft computing algorithms to come up with some interesting, intelligent product or the services. Soft computing represents a significant paradigm shift in the aims of computing. Yes. So when the soft computing comes, the scenario is totally changed in the manner the computing is handled. Now, we'll see the difference between hard computing versus soft computing. So in the hard computing, the first point of difference we can say as it requires precisely stated analytical model and a lot of computation time. So the model, the procedure is fixed in hard computing. Whereas in soft computing, it is tolerant of imprecision, uncertainty, partial truth and approximation. The second point of difference may be based on the hard computing is based on binary logic, CRISP system and numerical analysis. It is based on the binary logic, yes or no. CRISP system, we are handling the numerical values, the exact numerical values. and numerical analysis. In case of soft computing, it is based on neural network, the fuzzy logic and probabilistic reasoning. Fuzzy logic, it works on the ranges, that is 0 to 1. So we are having 0, 0 0.0.1, 0.02, like this. It varies from 0 to 1, it varies from ranges. Then the next point of difference is the hard computing possesses characteristic of precision and categoricity. So here the precision and the category is more important. In soft computing, it possesses the characteristics of approximation and dispositionality. So here, depending on the application, there may be a chance of dispositionality, and approximation is present in the soft computing, whether we talk about the input or whether we talk about the output. Then the next point is hard computing requires programs to be written. So now suppose we have to design any particular program or any particular application, then we have to write down from start to end. But soft computing evolves its own program. Now what is the meaning of this? It does not mean that you don't have to write the program. Yes, obviously you have to write down the program, but the program evolves by its own. Means what? Initially we write down some codes and we give the input to that program. Then the soft computing program is having the ability to improve the program depending on what he learned from the input and output relationship. So it works in the dynamic way. Depending on the environment, depending on the input and output and the algorithm, the program gets evolved from iterations to iterations. The next point is hard computing uses two-valued logic and the soft computing uses the multi-valued logic. The next point is hard computing is deterministic in nature, whereas soft computing is stochastic in nature. Now in the hard computing, the nature is deterministic. Everything is fixed. In soft computing, depending on the applications, depending on the algorithms, there might be changes. Then hard computing requires exact input data. The soft computing can handle ambiguous or noisy data. Next point, hard computing carry out sequential computation. Yes, in the hard computing, it executes the program or executes the computation one by one. Therefore, the lot of computation time is required in hard computing. But in soft computing, it carry out the parallel computation. So it requires the less amount of time for the execution as compared to the hard computing. Then the next point is hard computing produces precise answers. But in soft computing, it produces the approximate answer, as the characteristic of soft computing is approximation. So here we have seen this hard computing and the soft computing difference. Now we will see the techniques in soft computing. So what are the various principal constituents? Principal constituents means what? What are the tools and techniques of soft computing? Are fuzzy logic, neural network, support vector machine, evolutionary computation, machine learning, and probabilistic reasoning. So these are the different techniques in soft computing. Now we will see these techniques one by one. So the first technique is neural network. The neural network is founded in 1940. The artificial neural network mimics the biological neuron network in function. Now, if we talk about the human, then we have the brain. Brain is what? The brain is a nervous system. The biological nervous system is able to capture the information from the environment, and based on that information, this information gets processed inside the brain, and depending on this, the human reacts. So the same thing is implemented artificially by the scientist, and that model, that is ANN model, is called as the McCulloch and Pitts model. So now here in the left hand side, the BNN model diagram is represented. This figure represents a particular neuron. There are 10 raised to 11 neurons. Million neurons are present inside the brain, and this is the structure of one single neuron. Here, the axon is represented, dendrite and cell body is represented. Now, what is neuron? Neuron is what? The neuron is a elementary nerve cell which is having the information processing capability. Each neuron is divided into three parts: dendrites, cell body and axon. Now, what is dendrites? The dendrites are used to accept the input from the neighboring neuron. So the neurons are interconnected with each other using this dendrites, and using the axon is used for the input purpose. Then this input is given to the cell body. Then this cell body processes that information and the electrochemical is generated inside the cell body, and this chemical which is generated inside the cell body is transferred from one neuron to another neuron through the axon. So this axon is nothing but it serves as a output fiber. And if you see this axon, the end part of the axon is split into the fine arborization, and this arborization or this fibers ends into a small organ that is called as a synapse, and the synapse is used to store the knowledge, and there is a connection between the synapse of the axon and the dendrite of the neighboring neuron. So through this the knowledge is transferred from one neuron to the another neuron. So the same working is implemented artificially. In this diagram, the right hand side model is the artificial neural network model. This model is also called as the McCulloch and Pitts model. These are the name of the scientists who have invented this model. So this x1, x2 and xn, this represent the input. So if you talk about the resemblance between BNN and ANN, then x1, x2 and xn are nothing but the dendrites. Then W1, W2 and Wn, this represents the weight vectors, and these weight vectors are used to store the knowledge. So these weight vectors are nothing but the synapse, and all this together are sum up inside this Y, and this is nothing but the cell body where the information gets processed, and here some calculation is done. We apply some activation function on this, and depending on that we get the output. So if you see the outcoming arrow from this Y, that is nothing but the axon. So here the BNN is converted into a artificial neural network. Now the next one is the fuzzy logic. So based on the fuzzy set theory and fuzzy logic. Now first we see what is the basic difference between a set and a fuzzy set. Now what is a set? A normal set or the classical set is what? It is nothing but just a collection of the objects. But if we talk about the fuzzy set, then along with the presence of that object, it also gives the information about the degree of participation of that object in that particular set. So the degree of membership is also represented using the fuzzy logic, and this degree varies from 0 to 1, where the 0 represents the fuzzy logic uses numeric range of sets, that is fuzzy sets, to measure and represent the logical evaluations of partially accurate findings. So again the fuzzy logic uses the range, the approximation. So this kind of application which evolves around the fuzziness or the around the approximateness makes use of fuzzy logic. most applications in control and decision making. Most of the system or most of the applications in the control and decision makings are implemented using the fuzzy logic. The fuzzy logic is founded by the Lofty A. Zadeh. In this slide, the photograph of the scientist is shown. Now, the next technique of soft computing is machine learning. Now, what is machine learning? The machine learning is a category of artificial intelligence. In machine learning, the computers has the ability to learn themselves. Explicit programming is not required. Machine learning focuses on the study and development of algorithms that can learn from data and also make predictions on data. So if your application involves the working on the data and suppose you have to predict certain data, then we can use the machine learning. Now, machine learning mainly focuses on the design and development of computer programs that can teach themselves to grow and change when exposed to new data. So, using machine learning, we can collect information from a data set by asking the computer to make some sense from data. So, basically, the machine learning is turning data into information. So, in this slide, the diagrams are represented. So, the first diagram is the conceptual diagram of machine learning, where the data and the output is given as the input and the computer makes sense from data and a program is generated. So this is the basic representation of machine learning. Now here the second diagram represents the schematic concept of machine learning. Now in this diagram we can say that the machine learning system takes the training data and background knowledge as the input. Background knowledge and data helps the learner program to provide a solution for a particular task or problem. Performance corresponding to the solution can also be measured. The machine learning system comprises of mainly two components, learner and a reasoner. In this diagram, we can see these two basic components. One is a learner component and one is a reasoner component. Then what is the learner component? Learner use the training data and the background knowledge to build the model. So when we give the data and the background knowledge to the learner system, then the function of the learner system to build the model. Then this already built model is used by the reasoner component to provide the solution for a particular problem or for a particular task. Machine learning can be applied to many applications such as politics to geoscience. It is a tool that can be applied to many problems. Any application which needs to extract some information from data and also take some action on data can benefit from the machine learning methods. Here, some pattern recognition methods of the machine learning are shown. The pattern recognition based on training data classification supervised by instructor. Unsupervised machine learning is also used where the machine learns from the given data by detecting patterns. So in the machine learning, basically there are two types of tasks. One is called as the supervised machine learning and second one is the unsupervised machine learning. So in the supervised, what we are having? In the supervised, we are having the guess about the data, guess about the output. What is the meaning of this? Here we have the background knowledge or we have the prior knowledge about what can be my output. If I give this input to a program, then what can be my output? This is already known to the user. Then the relationship that exists between the input data and the output data, this relationship is studied by the machine learning algorithm, and this relationship is used to predict the output of the unseen data. Then second type of machine learning is called as the unsupervised machine learning. Now, what do you mean by unsupervised? In the unsupervised, we don't have the idea about the output. We know only the input. So, what this algorithm does, this algorithm gives the input and it calculates the output. By studying the relationship that exists between only the input. So if we are having n number of inputs, then what are the common characteristics that exist between the input are studied. And based on the common attributes or based on the common properties, the inputs are clustered together. Now the next technique of soft computing is the support vector machine. Now what is support vector machine? The support vector machine is used for the classification purpose. Now here in this diagram, you can see that there are two different classes. One cluster of 5 points and second cluster of 5 points. So if we draw a straight line which divides this input space into two regions, then we can say that towards one region one class is present and towards the second region second class is present. Now in order to get the confidence in the classification, we have to maximize the distance which is present between these two classes. When this distance is greater, then we can say that my classification is proper. In this diagram, this is represented using the margin width. So for the class 1, we find out the nearest point that exists with respect to the decision boundary. So here we can see there are three lines. So the middle line represents the decision boundary. Now what is decision boundary? The decision boundary divides the input space into two regions. So we find out the distance of the points that belongs to one class to the decision boundary. Then we find out the distance of the nearest point of the second class to the decision boundary. And then these points which lies on that line are called as the support vectors. Then with the help of these support vectors, we try to maximize the margin width so that we can gain the confidence in our classification. So if in case there is improper distribution, in that case also there will be no misclassification. So this is the support vector machine. Now next technique that is used in soft computing is the evolutionary computation. Now as we have already seen, the soft computing is a biological inspired model. There are many algorithms or the evolutionary algorithms that are inspired from the natural reproduction system. Now here, these evolutionary algorithms are based on the concept of the phrase that is survival of the fittest. If the outputs are best, then that will be survive, else that will be removed. So in the initialization step, what this algorithm do, they will try to find out the bestness of the input, if this particular input is best or not. And the method which are used to select this is called as the selection criteria. There are various selection methods are there to find out whether the input is best or not. There are various wheel technique is there, round wheel technique is there, and this technique will try to calculate the fitness function of the inputs. Now here let's see what is the meaning of the fitness function. Now suppose my aim is to maximize the x square and my input is 2, 4 and 6. Then if I talk about the 2, then its fitness value will be 4, because we are talking about the x square and x is equal to 2. So 2 square is 4. If my input is 4, then its square is 16, like this. If my input is 6, then my output is 36. So out of this 3, 6 is giving me the highest output, and my aim is to maximize the x square. So out of this 3 inputs, my best input is 6. So in this manner, the fitness function is calculated, and then the inputs which are having the best fitness functions are selected, and on the selected inputs we apply certain evolutionary methods, and these methods can be mutation and crossover. Here the mutation means what? We flip the bits of that data. Data means what? Suppose we are having the 6 as the input, we have selected 6 as the input. So if we convert that 6 into the binary format, then it becomes 0 1 1 0. So in the mutation, out of this 4 bits, any bit is flipped, and we can get a new children from this. So when we select any input, they are called as the parent, and when we apply any algorithm on that, and when we get the new output, that are called as the children's. Then we can apply the crossover on that. Crossover means what? We select the 2 inputs and we cross over that inputs in order to generate the new children's, and on this new children's we apply the mutation. So this process goes on: crossover, then mutation, then again crossover, mutation, and this process is applied unless and until we get all the best values. And when my stopping criteria is reached, then what is stopping criteria? When I reach or when I receive the best output, then I can stop. Or another is, if I reach or if I exceed the maximum number of iteration, then we have to stop, and that step is called as the termination. So this is basically inspired from the natural reproduction system. So mainly the optimization algorithms are based on the evolutionary computation. If we talk about the genetic algorithm is one of the popular optimization method that makes use of this evolutionary computation. Now we'll see the advantages of soft computing. Here, models based on human reasoning. So as we have already seen, this is the unique property of soft computing, that is, it uses the human expertise. So in the manner the human reasons or human takes the decision, in the same manner the soft computing algorithm takes the decisions. It is closer to human thinking and biologically inspired. Yes, in this we have already seen how the biological neural network is converted into a artificial neural network. How the human thinks, it is implemented artificially. Also the natural reproduction system is converted into a evolutionary computation. So it is closer to human thinking and biologically inspired. Then the another advantages of soft computing is the models can be linguistic, comprehensible, fast when computing, and effective in practice. Now linguistic, we already seen, if we make use of the fuzzy logic, then the fuzzy logic is having the property that works with the linguistic variables. That is, we labels high, low, tall, short instead of the numerical values. Fast when computing, we already seen this. Hard computing does the computation one by one, serial execution, but soft computing does the parallel computation. So the same task is performed parallelly so that it can be computed in the fast manner and we can save the time. It is effective in practice, yes. Many algorithms cannot be designed with the help of hard computing because we don't have the knowledge about that applications, or depending on certain scenario there might be changes. So this kind of applications can be effectively designed with the help of soft computing. Now we have already seen the applications of soft computing. Now here just we'll see some few more. Heavy industry. So the soft computing is used in the heavy industries like robotic arms and humanoid robots. So the robotic arms. So there is a combination of this robotic arm and the soft computing. The neural schema is designed, the neural schema of that robot is designed using the soft computing algorithms, that is artificial neural network is used in this. The humanoid robots are created using the soft computing algorithms. Home appliances, yes, many of the home appliances are developed using the soft computing methods, such as washing machine. We already seen the washing machine is designed with the help of fuzzy logic. AC system, refrigerator system, camera system, all these are designed with the help of fuzzy logic, where we have to specify the ranges. Then automobiles, travel speed estimation, the slip warning system, the driverless cars. Again, these are the very important applications of the soft computing system where the intelligence is required. The spacecrafts, the maneuvering of a space shuttle, it uses the fuzzy logic concept. Then the optimization of fuel efficient solution for the spacecraft. Just now we have seen the example of the fuel consumption prediction. So the fuel consumption prediction can be implemented using the ANFIS system, because ANFIS system makes the use of neural network also and the fuzzy logic also. It combines the advantages of both the system, and this type of system is used to predict the fuel consumption. Then once you predict the fuel consumption, on that we can apply the optimization algorithms. There are various optimization algorithms such as derivative based optimization and derivative free optimization that can be applied on this to optimize the fuel efficient for the spacecraft. Now in this slide, the robotics, that is soft computing application diagrams are represented. So now the time for the revision of this chapter. So in this chapter, now there is a time for the question and answer. So in this chapter we have seen what is the meaning of the soft computing, what are the differences between the hard computing and the soft computing. Then we have seen the applications of the soft computing, then the constituent of the soft computing, what are the different techniques of soft computing. We have seen here the machine learning technique, then we have seen the fuzzy logic technique, then we have seen the neural network techniques, then we have seen how the support vector machine is used in order to gain the confidence in the classification. Then we have seen the evolutionary computation, how the evolutionary computation helps to optimize the performance. Then we have seen the advantages of soft computing and the applications of soft computing. So now from this chapter, the questions might be asked as, what is soft computing and hard computing, and what are the differences between them? Then the next question, that possible question is, explain the different techniques in soft computing. So here are the principal constituents of soft computing. So the answer for both the question is same. Here you have to explain from the neural network up to the evolutionary computations. So this is about the soft computing and its advantages and the difference between soft computing and the hard computing. So this covers the first chapter. So in the first chapter we have seen the introduction and definition of artificial intelligence. Then we have seen the intelligent agent. Then we have seen the soft computing concept. So hope this video will be helpful to you to understand the basic introduction of AI and the basic introduction of soft computing. Thank you.